Whether you're a fan of mixed martial arts, professional boxing, professional wrestling, freestyle, Greco-Roman wrestling, Sambo, or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Guess what, Canada? This country produces some highly talented and fierce judokas. And we're going to speak to one of them right now. His name is Arthur Magilidion, who just came back from Guangzhou, China, where he competed at the IGF Masters. And let's jump right into this conversation. All right, we are joined by Arthur Magilidion. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Congratulations on your great performance at in Guangzhou at the IGF's World Masters. Let's jump right into your match. Ton premier match, tu es avec un judoka de l'Israël. Son nom est Tohar Botbol. Peux-tu me parler un peu de ce match-là?
Ouais, donc premièrement, merci beaucoup de m'avoir félicité. Ça a vraiment été un bon tournoi pour moi et puis j'en suis très fier parce que c'est un tournoi assez haut élevé. Donc, contre Butbull, c'est un adversaire que j'avais pris plusieurs fois auparavant. Il m'avait toujours battu, mais cette journée, je suis rentré avec une autre détermination et puis je me suis dit que j'allais gagner le tournoi, mais tu sais, inconsciemment, j'ai juste été dans la journée en disant bon, je vais tout gagner. Et puis en arrivant contre lui, ça a commencé comme d'habitude, j'ai pris la première punition, puis là j'ai continué le combat et puis dès que j'ai pris cette première punition, la séquence d'après, je l'ai projetée pour Wazari et puis ensuite la séquence suivante, ça a enchaîné au sol et puis j'ai réussi à l'étrangler pour aller chercher la victoire sur mon premier combat.
Now, I gotta say, I watched all your matches, obviously, and continuously in all your matches, you appeared very confident, very determined, and very strong. You could see it in your face. You know, you have a very strong presence on the tatamis. In this particular match, you went for an Oguruma, yeah? Is that how you threw him? And then after that, Go ahead.
It was a kind of a Sode Osoto. Like, it was like I went for Sode, he reacted, and I put the leg behind.
Right.
And I just threw him, and he really overspin. Like, I didn't thought he would go that high.
Right.
So actually, instead of, it could have been Ippon, but since he went so high and, like, spin really fast, he fall a little on his side, that which I got with Dari for.
Butbull rushed you like a bull and knocked your face at one moment. What was that about? Didn't he hear the ref call Mamate? What happened there?
Oh, I don't really know what happened. I was surprised myself too, but my coach told me after to stay focused on the fight. After I won the fight, he told me, like, focus on the fight because those things can happen. Now they put a new rule that, like, even after the fight go on the Newaza, it can go back on the Tachiwaza right away.
Exactly.
The thing is that I threw him. We were both on the floor. I stood up because I wanted to look at the ref and see the score. And I think he thought, and I thought it was Ippon. So we both look at the ref, and as soon as the ref called Wazari, the Butbull just charged me and tried to throw me because he's standing back up, and I'm like halfway standing up, and he like hit me on the head with his forearm, but like it's my fault for not being focused, but at the same time I wasn't expecting something like that.
Right, he certainly hit you like a bull there. Yeah. But you won the match. Peux-tu expliquer la soumission que tu as utilisée?
Ok, ça c'est mon étranglement spécial avec lequel j'avais travaillé, un ancien coach qu'on avait au Centre national, Jérémy Lebris. Il m'avait montré une vidéo d'un Français qui faisait un étranglement au sol au championnat de France et il gagnait tous ses combats sur ça. Donc moi je me suis dit pourquoi pas travailler là-dessus. Donc en fait c'est un étranglement où je vais chercher le revers opposé quand je suis par-dessus. Et puis ce que je fais c'est que je bloque le corps avec ma jambe pour pas que l'adversaire puisse tourner d'un bord ou de l'autre et qu'il soit complètement coincé. Donc ce qui se passe là-dedans c'est que si j'arrive à passer la main de l'autre côté et chercher le revers, c'est terminé. Je suis presque sûr que j'ai mon étranglement à chaque fois. Et puis j'en ai la preuve parce que j'ai réussi à aller prendre deux victoires au tournoi avec ça. Ouais. Le tournoi précédent, j'ai eu une victoire et puis deux autres sur où je commence à faire ça. Et puis finalement, je switch sur un autre truc parce que si je vois que l'étranglement marche pas ou que l'étranglement est sur la figure,
Juji
je switch avec le bras. Ouais. Exactement. Juji Gatame, je switch sur le bras.
Ouais. Ça, c'est. Est-ce que le nom de ce choke-là en Jiu-Jitsu, je pense que c'est un bow and arrow choke?
I think it's ouais, c'est un bow and arrow choke, mais moi je l'appelle the Artie choke.
Ah, well, there you go. We're gonna call it the what is it called now?
Artie choke.
The Artie choke, folks. It's
Yeah, it sounds like the vegetable, but like it's because there's everybody called me Artie at judo.
okay.
People call me Artie, so I just called it the Artie choke.
Very cool. So from now on, it's no longer called the bow and arrow choke. It's called the Artie choke. Very cool. So, so moving on now, après que t'as battu Butbull, you faced off against Hashimoto, who of course is 2017 world's champion. Very entertaining and dynamic judoka. You know, lots of people are big fans of his. Peux-tu me parler de ce match-là?
Yeah, with the Hashimoto, also I faced him twice in the past since he came out on the international scene.
Right.
First fight was like 2 years ago, I think, in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I lost really quickly because I first I was coming back from an injury and stuff. Then the second time was last year actually in Banster, and that year today it was the third time, and I knew I could beat him, but like it was just a matter of finding the maybe the thing to do and the actual being willing to do everything I could to fight and beat him. Like it's motivation. I think I needed more motivation, and like I entered this fight, like I said at the beginning of the day, I was like, okay, I don't care, I beat everybody today. So I entered this fight saying I'm gonna suffer to get the win, but I'm gonna get the win. So it started. I was trying a different way to grip him. Then I was trying to attack more than him, which I did because he didn't attack that much during that fight. And I finally. I was on the golden score. We were 2 Shido apiece. Mm-hmm. So the next one was getting the Shido was losing the fight. Then I decided, okay, I'm gonna out attack him. So in that case, like he wouldn't be able to attack, and he will get the Shido eventually. So then I attack. I do 4 or 5 sequences of attack. They didn't give the Shido, but I think in his head he was like, oh, now I think I have to attack because it's been 5 times or 5 sequences he is attacking,
right,
and I'm not doing anything, so I'm probably going to get it. So I think he rushed a little bit in attack on the golden score, which gave me the space to spawn out and like counter him on his own attack, which gave me the victory eventually after 2 minutes in the golden score or something like that.
It's interesting parce que il était un peu frustré pendant cette exchange. But he seemed visibly annoyed and vraiment frustré. And the question is, and if you can answer en français s'il vous plaît, the role of staying calm and focused in a match, because essentially you broke him mentally.
Mm-hmm. Moi, je pense que c'est vraiment quelque chose de crucial dans un combat, parce que quand tu montres à ton adversaire que tu es frustré, l'adversaire sait que, OK, il a de la difficulté avec moi. Mm-hmm. Et puis, généralement, les Japonais, c'est comme ça qu'ils agissent, mais je pense qu'il devenait vraiment frustré, qu'il n'arrive pas à faire son judo et à faire ses propres attaques. Donc, éventuellement, j'ai vu que lui, il commençait à faire des trucs différents de ce qu'il fait à l'habitude. Il se relevait, il se mettait, j'ai vu ça quand je me suis rendu compte qu'il se mettait à ma place. Parce que quand il y a un maté, on arrête le combat et chacun retourne à sa place face à face. Mm-hmm. Mais lui, il n'arrêtait pas de se mettre à ma place. Donc, je pense qu'il était un peu perdu. Wow. Parce qu'il se mettait tout le temps à ma place.
Weird.
Donc je me suis dit, peut-être que là, c'est la journée où je vais pouvoir le battre. Et puis, je pense que moi, j'essaie d'agir de la même façon, de ne pas montrer trop d'émotions, parce que je suis un gars qui réagit très, très fort. Mm-hmm. Donc, si j'ai quelque chose que je suis pas d'accord avec, je vais réagir fort et je vais réagir un peu trop grossièrement. Tandis que dans un combat de judo, j'essaie de pas trop montrer ces frustrations, parce que c'est des frustrations que ton adversaire peut utiliser à ton désavantage.
Big time.
Donc, d'être calme, confiant et une belle posture, je pense que c'est les atouts les plus importants pour gagner un combat.
Bien sûr, and you kept that pace throughout, as I mentioned, throughout all your matches. You had a very confident presence on the tatami and also a calm one. Now moving on to your next match against a Mongolian by the name of Odbatar Ganbatar.
Yeah.
By the way, I love Mongolian judo and I love their names. I think their names are awesome. He's the 2017 bronze medal champion. Puis, peux-tu me parler un peu de ce combat avec Odbatar Ganbatar? Odbayar Ganbatar.
Odbayar Ganbatar.
Yeah.
Ouais, quand je suis allé avec lui, comme j'ai dit, je suis rentré avec une confiance cette journée. Donc, après les 2 autres combats que j'avais gagnés, je savais que ça allait être un combat qui était à ma portée, mais que ça allait pas être facile. Parce que c'est un gars, comme vous avez dit, qui est 3e au championnat du monde senior il y a 2 ans, 5e l'année dernière. Donc, c'est un gars très constant sur la scène internationale. Plusieurs médailles, plusieurs tournois gagnés. Et puis, quand j'ai commencé le combat, j'ai été surpris de la force physique de cet adversaire. Il a mis ses mains sur moi et j'avais l'impression que j'avais un étau qui venait de tomber sur mes bras.
Wow.
J'étais vraiment surpris. Il avait une force incroyable. Et je m'attendais pas à ça. Donc, au début, j'étais un peu surpris. Mais j'ai réussi à un peu éviter cette force de grippe en l'empêchant de mettre ses 2 mains sur moi et puis moi en attaquant le premier. Et puis éventuellement, il n'y a rien qui s'est plutôt passé pendant les 2 premières minutes de combat. Ensuite, il a fait un mouvement, il a essayé un Tayotoshi. J'ai bloqué et sur le retour, il est retourné en sodé.
Ouais.
J'ai failli partir et tomber, mais j'ai réussi à éviter la technique. Et en tombant sur mes genoux, je l'ai remis sur le dos.
Ouais.
Pas donné de point. Ils ont pas donné de point, mais je me suis dit bon, je vais juste aller au sol. Donc là, j'ai continué, je suis rentré, j'ai commencé à travailler au sol. Il bloquait vraiment fort mon choke, mais j'ai réussi à tirer le revers vers le bas puis aller chercher un bout de judogi. Ce que j'ai fait, c'est que j'ai juste dit bon, ben j'attrape ce que je peux puis je tourne. Donc là, j'ai attrapé le genou et puis je suis allé l'étrangler pour aller chercher la victoire.
C'est pas juste un entranglement, c'est un artichoke, non?
Ouais, the artichoke.
Oui.
I got my artichoke.
That's it. And it was interesting because, as you mentioned, you spun, after his soda, you spun around and landed in an advantageous position as far as controlling the back, and you finished with a choke. Mais c'est vraiment intéressant parce que après que tu as gagné ça via l'entranglement, le artichoke, you went to see if he was okay. Right? Out of respect that, obviously judo is a sport of respect and mutual benefit and so on. But you went and you checked up on him. Can you explain why you did that?
Well, because I think, first of all, we're open and on the mat, but it doesn't mean that I don't like the person and I don't they're a piece of shit. For me,
sure.
It's an opponent. Without an opponent, you don't have a fight. So you need to respect your opponent. And I think everybody deserves respect. So, I felt because he resisted a long time, and I felt like I hurt him. When you're about to pass out,
sure.
There's the heavy breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he tapped, but his arm was kind of shaky. So I thought I choked him out. So I just went to check if he was okay. And I think it's a really important value in the judo. Respect is something everybody should have, and I don't dislike anybody in the mat. Everybody is deserving the same respect.
Sure.
From me and from everybody. So they're open, yes, but at the end of the day, when the fight is done, it's a person like everybody else. I know them. We're on the circuit all the time together, so we know each other. I'm not going to be
right
mean with that guy.
Sure.
I respect the guy.
And it's a great thing to see that show of respect and sportsmanship. You see that a lot in judo, and it's a very typical Canadian thing to do as well. I would imagine. Now, moving on to your final match here against Rustam Orajov, he's 2016 Olympic silver medalist as well as a 2017 World silver medalist. Speak to us about this match. There were a lot of very interesting exchanges in this match. And I'll just say flat out right from the top, I think la prochaine fois que tu fais le combat avec Urjov, je pense que tu vas le battre parce que pendant ce match, he really got frustrated. And even your coach mentioned that. He mentioned, you could hear it on camera. His coach saying he's frustrated. And you know, there was a lot of interesting exchange. Peux-tu nous donner comme un sommaire de ce match-là, s'il vous plaît?
Ouais, so Orizhov is like one of the toughest opponent in the category, and I entered the fight knowing it would be a war. And first exchange I did with him, I felt like okay, he's strong, and because I fought him like a couple years ago, but I think it was in 2014, so it was like really a long time ago, and I didn't spot him that much in training camp, so I didn't know really what to expect. I knew it was strong, but I knew I was strong too. So like I had confidence in that fight. And once I put my hands on him, I knew he was strong, but I felt like I could beat him. Like I was like, okay, I can take that thing. So I just like I think for my part, like it's a fight that could have been on his side and on my side. I did a lot of well, it ended up on his side, but like I think it could have easily go my side that fight.
Exactement, because it actually went to golden score, did it not?
It did, but like in my opinion, like there's one sequence where he did a kind of a Makikomi,
right?
Jumped over and followed on the Newaza, but
right.
Like putting him on the back on the other side.
Yeah,
that like could have been a score in my mind, but like it's always like an interpretation from the referee. There's never like a sure thing. Like it's depending on how the referee is seeing it. Maybe he saw it as going to the ground, but like in my opinion, like even when I watched the fight again, because I really watch my fight a lot. Like after I lose a tournament or win a tournament, I go through all my fights to see all the mistake I did and all the good thing I did too.
Tout seul avec ton... Est-ce que tu regardes tes matchs tout seul ou avec ton entraîneur puis ton équipe? Est-ce que c'est comme...
I do it mostly alone, but like if I want to ask something or like be sure of something, I'm going to ask my coach or my dad to help me with what happened, what they're thinking about that thing. But like mostly I look at my fight alone. And after, if I need an advice or something, I'm going to bring it to someone to help me with it.
So, just following up with that, so you had bad control. You had his back controlled. It appeared as though maybe you were potentially setting up for another artichoke. But in the exchange, you went at one point, just near the end, I believe, you went for a Taitoshi, and
yeah.
It looks like he was going to do the same, the Sumigaishi counter, because he lifted and set you up, and it seemed at that point he knew he wanted to execute that if you were going to you know, yeah. So do you want to speak about that, because it was it's a new rule, right, as far as attacks?
It's a new rule.
Yeah, yes. Speak to us about that.
Okay, so it's the new rule that came out actually like in January this year. It's just a new rule that say that like once the opponent is on the floor, like I think it's to prevent people from doing drop to avoid a fight. So instead of just giving a shield for that, like they allowed the actual opponent, if he's still standing, to take the opponent and lift him and throw him sumigaishi or any way on the one side of the other or the mat to just get a score from it, because it's like sometimes you get a shidos for someone, but like you can't win a fight on shidos. So let's say at the end of the fight, like the guy is winning with Zari, he do like 30 seconds to go, he do a bad job, like he's not gonna lose because he do a bad job, because he's only gonna get a shido from it. So it is actually allowing people when they escape from a fight to, if they really do it to escape, allowing the opponent to take the opportunity to throw him on the side and get a score for it.
Now, Overall, congratulations. You obviously, you got the silver medal and you put on a great performance.
Thank you
And
very much.
you went up against some very, very tough competitors, and it's great to see Canadian judokas competing at the highest level with the best in the world. Leading on now on January 12th and 13th à la Tohu in Montréal, there's going to be les Elite Nationals 2019. Peux-tu nous parler de ce tournoi?
Ouais. Donc, le Elite 8, c'est un tournoi national qui regroupe les 8 meilleurs au Canada. C'est un tournoi pour un peu démontrer au Québec, au Canada, les athlètes qui compétitionnent à l'international. Je pense que c'est pour ça qu'ils ont placé ce tournoi-là. C'est pour justement que les gens puissent voir, comme on n'a pas souvent des tournois au Canada ou à Montréal, jusqu'à récemment maintenant avec l'obtention du Grand Prix en juillet. Donc je pense que c'était une plateforme pour que les jeunes et les comment on dit, les judokas du Canada puissent voir en action les athlètes de l'équipe nationale qui justement performent à l'international. Donc c'est un tournoi qui réveille aussi un peu après le temps des fêtes. Donc ça laisse c'est rapidement remis dans l'action. Il faut vite sortir les bûches et les dindes qu'on a mangées pendant le temps des fêtes. Donc, ouais, c'est ça. C'est un tournoi qui est plutôt agréable à faire. C'est pas trop gros. C'est 8 personnes, donc ça fait 3 combats dans la journée. C'est un tournoi assez agréable à faire.
And it's going to be at La Tohu in Montreal, so if people want to come out and watch it, they can buy a ticket or they can watch it live on judocanada.tv. So it's going to be very exciting. You're going to be there along with a variety of very tough competitors from coast to coast to coast. We're looking forward to that. Once again, Arthur, thank you very much for taking the time on this Saturday morning to speak to me, and congratulations again. I'm a big fan. It's great to see competitor on the tatami willing to fight and compete and have that relentless spirit to finish the match. So congratulations to you once again, and we hope to speak to you in the near future.
Perfect. Thank you very much, and it was my pleasure for that this morning.